Hey, good Sunday evening, South Mississippi. Meteorologist Taylor Graham here, joining you from the newsroom on the last day of November, which is also the last day of hurricane season. And let's be honest, we really lucked out here, not only in South Mississippi, but across the United States. We did not have a single landfalling hurricane in the U.S. this year, so that is something to certainly celebrate. Now, for us locally, the month of November has been very dry. In fact, this is going to be going down as one of the driest Novembers on record for those of us along the coast. Not really expecting any rain tonight. We did have an opportunity to see a few showers today. Some of us did a little farther inland, but overall, the rain did not amount to much. And now that we are seeing a cold front moving south of us, if you've spent any amount of time outside this evening, you know that the wind is picking up and it is fairly chilly outside. Temperatures will continue to drop overnight tonight into the upper 40s, low 50s. Some inland spots early Monday morning will be waking up in the mid 40s, and the wind is going to make it feel even cooler. Even this evening, I was letting my dogs out on my dinner break. Definitely you could feel the chill in the air. And the air is also fairly dry. Not really expecting any more rain overnight tonight. So it looks like we are wrapping up the month of November with some dry weather. So dry, in fact, that we only picked up a trace of rainfall in Gulfport at the airport this month. So this is easily going down as one of the driest Novembers on record. That being said, there is a record of no rain whatsoever in 1949. The caveat with that, though, is that we are missing 5 days of precipitation data for that November in 1949. That's why I do not have that included. However, we have data every day of the month, and we've only ended up with a trace of rainfall. That's less than 1/100th of an inch. So pretty incredible here in Gulfport at the airport, where we hardly picked up any rain whatsoever. As for Moss Point, Pascagoula at the Trent Lott International Airport, looks like this is going to be the second driest November on record at that location. Only picked up a little bit more than a ½ an inch of rain this month. So safe to say we could use more rain here in South Mississippi. I know there were some inland areas that got more rain than that, but where we have better data, it has been extremely dry, especially right along the coast. Right now, this is a live look over into Jones Park, taking a look at the harbor lights. A beautiful but chilly, breezy evening. Temperatures now have begun to drop a little bit more. Now we have cooled down into the mid 50s in Gulfport, but we've got that wind picking up out of the north, and that's helping to draw in some cooler air. So we can see that Poplarville, Wiggins, McNeil now sitting in the low 50s. We're holding on to the mid 50s, a little bit closer to the coast. Cooler air will continue to move in overnight tonight. Now tomorrow afternoon, we are going to be back into the mid 60s. The story tomorrow is going to be our rain chances. The first part of tomorrow, not really expecting any rain. In fact, even throughout the early afternoon, our rain chances are still going to be pretty slim. But notice how those rain chances steadily climb by the end of the evening, and we have almost a guarantee that we're going to be seeing rain late Monday night into very early Tuesday morning. So if you've been missing out on the rain lately, there's a pretty good chance you're at least going to see rain in some form or fashion Monday night into Tuesday. Again, it's also been breezy, and it's going to stay pretty breezy tomorrow. In the morning, we still will have a small craft advisory in effect. Choppy conditions are expected by the afternoon. We're going to start to see winds a little bit more out of the east at about 10 to 25 knots over the sound and also offshore. So choppy conditions are expected again tomorrow. As for those tides, we're seeing low tide very early in the morning. High tide will be happening later in the evening. Water temperature still on the cool side, no surprise there. Water temperature now is at 60. So first alert radar really not showing anything whatsoever. We did have a few showers earlier today, but not everyone got the rain, and a lot of the rain dissipated as it moved into South Mississippi. So this cold front that is now moved off to the south and east, allowing that cooler, drier air to move in behind it. Looks like Hattiesburg has already dropped down into the upper 40s, 45 in Jackson, 44 Meridian. Quite a bit colder, though, well to our north and North Mississippi. It's not going to be getting that cold here, but we will continue to see temperatures drop into the 40s overnight tonight. Our next rainmaker, that's starting to take shape right around South Texas and along the Gulf Coast. So this low pressure system, that's going to be bringing more rain for us late Monday and into Tuesday. And this area of low pressure is going to be tracking almost right on top of us and just to our south. And so parts of Louisiana, Alabama, also going to be getting more rainfall Monday and into Tuesday. But like I've been talking about, the first half of Monday is looking pretty dry. It is going to be breezy. We'll keep the winds out of the north and east. As we get into the evening, our rain chances increase. Fairly mild tomorrow, all things considered, for the first day of December with temperatures in the mid-60s. But that's very typical for the beginning of December in terms of our normal highs. Again, in the evening and overnight that night, widespread showers, even some heavy downpours are going to be possible. Not ruling that out. Now, it does look like most of the rain is going to be out of the way close to the sunrise on Tuesday. As that low pressure system moves to the east, we're going to see winds shifting more so out of the north and west. That's going to usher in some cooler air throughout the day on Tuesday. And odds are, even if we see more sunshine, we're only getting into the low to mid 50s by Tuesday afternoon. And it is going to stay breezy as well with winds out of the north and west. I expect many of us, at least through the end of Tuesday, to pick up a ½ inch up to an inch of rainfall. Some spots maybe getting close to an inch and a half. That's not completely out of the question. But this is just one round of rain that we're going to be tracking this upcoming week. The end of the week, it looks like we'll have more rounds of rain on the way, specifically Thursday, Friday, maybe even into Saturday morning. Now, there's a lot of details to work out with the exact timing of when we're going to get that rain by the end of the week, but we're kind of going to be set up in a very active pattern by the end of the week. This ridge of high pressure in the upper levels, that's going to stay far enough to our south to where we're going to be seeing those rounds of rain kind of move right along the edge of that ridge of high pressure. So a very active pattern. It's going to be setting up across the Gulf Coast. It's not just us that's likely going to see rain later the week. Parts of Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, likely going to be seeing multiple rounds of rain Thursday, Friday, into Saturday. It's not completely out of the question that we could be picking up 2 to 5 inches of rain by the end of the week once it's all said and done. That also includes the rain that we expect tomorrow night. But this is a very broad projection at this point because we just don't know the exact track of where these rounds of rain are going to be. But generally speaking, as you can see here, heavy rain is going to be possible throughout this upcoming week. So a much different change of pace from the month of November, where we really did not see much rain at all. So hopefully this can help out with our drought situation a little bit here in South Mississippi. Doesn't mean it's going to be going away completely, but we'll take anything that we can get. And it does look fairly promising. We're going to be getting some much needed rainfall throughout the first week of December. In the tropics, nothing to talk about, and that's good news. Today is the last day of hurricane season. Like I mentioned at the very beginning of this, we really lucked out here in South Mississippi, and we really lucked out for the most part across the U.S. We did not have any landfalling hurricanes across the mainland. That being said, there were still some very powerful hurricanes this year. One of that's of most note, I would say, is Hurricane Melissa. That was the last named system of the season. It became a monstrous Category 5 hurricane. It made landfall in Jamaica this year, bringing devastating impacts to that island. But that being said, again, the U.S. really lucked out. If I'm not mistaken, this makes it 10 years where we did not have a landfalling hurricane in the U.S. So South Mississippi, we lucked out this year. It was a very quiet hurricane season for us. No complaints on my end. I would love to see that happen again next year as well. No promises, of course, but at least hurricane season is over and we can rest easy in the tropics until we get to next hurricane season in 2026. But overall this year, it was fairly quiet, or I should say really quiet, for the Gulf Coast and for South Mississippi. So we ended up getting 5 hurricanes this season, 4 of which became major hurricanes. And again, Melissa seems to be one that's going to be going down in the history books. There's a very high chance that that name Melissa is going to be retired by next year. As for our local forecast, starting to feel a little bit more like the holidays. Notice there are high temperatures in the 50s and 60s over the next several days. The first part of tomorrow, not expecting any rain. By the late afternoon and evening, that's when our rain chances increase, and then overnight Monday into Tuesday, rain is pretty much a guarantee, it looks like. We will be cooler, drier on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then rain likely going to be moving back in by Thursday, Friday, possibly even into Saturday of this upcoming week. High temperatures by the end of the week generally going to be in the 60s. One thing I also want to point out too is Tuesday night until Wednesday morning, it is going to be cold. Temperatures mid to upper 30s. We'll keep an eye out for how close we may be getting to freezing at that point. Those are the only, that's really the only night where we have temperatures getting that low. But 50s and 60s, that's a sign that we are getting closer and closer to winter. Of course, tomorrow we begin the new month of December, where temperatures generally start to cool down even a little bit more. And we start to see our average highs, or normal highs by the end of the month, dropping down into the low 60s. So time now is 8:23. We will be having our hour-long newscast tonight beginning at 10 o'clock. I'll have another update on our forecast, our rainfall potential over the next several days, and of course we'll have the latest news in South Mississippi. So we hope you will join us at 10.